Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese.
Of course.
It's okay, I'll take it from here.
Hey, the guy get a seat!
For the love of palmetto cheese.
Well, here's the bottom line. Well, it's funny that you say that. Let me tell you. Welcome to Primetime Sports. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Alexander, and you're going to have a half hour of what we do every week. We're going to talk LSU, New Orleans Saints. Sometimes we get into Tulane, Pelicans, UNO. We got it covered. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, we got y'all. If you're a star from this state and you've gone somewhere else to do something good, you've probably been on the show. Or if you've been from somewhere else and you come to the Saints or LSU or any of these other places, the Pelicans, well, you're going to be on this show if you haven't been already. But here's the thing. Today we're going to do something different. Yes, LSU. We know what they're doing. They're going to be in the semifinal college football playoff game in Atlanta. I cannot wait for that one. This could be a magical, magical season. Already has been. 13-0. Only the third time this team has been undefeated in the regular season. One time they won the national championship. The other time they lost in the finals. The other won 2 national championships. One had 1 loss, one had 2. Can this be the second time they win a national championship undefeated? They have 2 more games to go. As for the Saints, tough loss a couple weeks ago to San Francisco. They have the game tonight, or I should say last week to San Francisco. They have the game tomorrow night against Indianapolis, and that is a big one moving forward. They're trying to get that first or second seed. Right now, second is more likely, but if not, they fall back into a situation where they might have to go on the road for the second game of the playoffs. You don't want to do that if you're the New Orleans Saints, but they have the quarterback. He's back playing well after his injury. The defense has to get back on track, but I think they will. We're going to talk more about LSU basketball, Tulane basketball, and all that stuff a little more later, but don't forget Tulane is in a bowl as well. This is something new right now. Rugby, 3rd year, NOLA Gold. They're moving into the new stadium, the Shrine on Airline. They're going to call it the Gold Mine on Airline. Get your tickets at nolagoldrugby.com because they're available, and we're going to sell out that stadium. But next, we have one of their stars, a new player, Meyer. This guy can play all positions, and he is from South Africa. Coming up next, right here on Primetime Sports.
Make no mistake about it, life's more fun with seafood.
Oysters don't swim.
They do in butter.
What'd you get? A little bit of everything to make everyone happy.
Acme Oyster House. Life really is more fun with seafood.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At Mid-City Lanes, the home of
a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 1-800-653-9968.
Did you know that GMFS Mortgage is the largest independent mortgage company in Louisiana? Their 250 employees have helped over 79,000 customers make the dream of home ownership come true. They funded over $12.9 billion in loans right here in Southeast Louisiana. If you're ready to buy, build, or renovate a new home, or just need to refinance, call the company born and raised here, GMFS Mortgage.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese.
Of course.
It's okay. I'll take it from here.
Hey, the guy get a seat.
For the love of palmetto cheese.
Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. Hey, like I said in the open, I've been saying the last month, this is a magical year for the LSU Tigers. I cannot wait for December 28th in Atlanta. And, of course, your New Orleans Saints, they keep fighting for that first seed. It's going to be tougher now. That San Francisco loss was big, but they can still get home field until that possible game against the 49ers if they keep winning and doing it right. But we're going to switch gears now because this is a big, big week for another sport. Remember last week I talked a lot about basketball. We had head coach, a former Final Four coaching. This week I'm going to rugby. And rugby is going to be big in your heart very soon because right now the NOLA Gold, going into their third season, are moving into the Shrine on Airline. And officially, one day we like to call it the Gold Mine on Airline. But legally, we're going to call it the Gold Mine at the Shrine on Airline for the next couple of months. But going forward, this team is getting reloaded. Last year, for the first half of the season and into the second half, they were first place the entire way. They had a few injuries. They faltered down the stretch. But this year they're going to reload from a 9-7 team that had a bunch of losses later. But, boy, they got some guys. They got an Australian named Robbie Coleman. He's played on a bunch of World Cup kind of national teams over there in Australia. You've got a new player from Argentina who's going to see a lot of action. And we got one more that's sitting right next to me. He is a South African. You know that's one of the big sports. You saw Invictus. South Africa is a big sport for rugby. And last year we had Tristan Blewett, JP Eloff from South Africa. This year, we're bringing in a guy named Carl Meyer. He's a little bigger than these guys, but he still plays their same position. Here he is, Carl Meyer. Welcome to Countdown Primetime Sports, and welcome to the New Orleans. How you doing, man?
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Doing really well.
So
really well.
Before you got here, they were telling me all about you. They're like, man, this guy's like 6'3". He's about 235. He runs real fast. And I figured you might have been one of those big guys playing the big guy's position, but you're playing the little guy position. How the hell are you doing that?
I just think the transition that rugby's had over the past couple of years, we have the backline players more looking like forwards these days.
Right.
Guys picking up weight and all the different types of training and all those types of things make us a bit more athletic in the size, and we can move around a bit quicker. So
it's kind of like what all sports are doing. You know, the guys the bigger guys start getting faster and faster. So in basketball, there are a bit more big guys playing guard. They do it in all the sports, but my first question, because New Orleanians love to know why people come and why people like it. So you had a lot of options. I mean, you're a big-time player in your home country. I'm sure that, Americans might not know this, but rugby players can make a ton of money around the world. But the curiosity of America, this new league, it's now going to its third year. What was the reason not only that you chose to come to America, but also to come to New Orleans?
So what played a big part for me was I got in touch, or NOLA Gold got in touch with us. I spoke to Ryan Fitzgerald, the GM, and got to know about the team culture, what they were kind of striving for, what was their goals going forward, and got to know about Tim, the owner, and the values that the club has, which was a real big decision for me to be a part of something that was looking to do things that way. And from what I understood and heard, that the league was growing rapidly here in America, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to be part of something in the beginning foundation and hopefully help where I can help it grow here in New Orleans with the Gold.
Did you know of any players or friends of yours that had played in this league? I'm just curious because obviously you've heard about it, but did you know anybody personally that was already in the league?
I knew 2 or 3 guys who had come over and played across here. A South African guy who's playing for San Diego. Obviously Tristan Blewett this past year.
Yep.
And so I was really interested in the traction that it was getting and the players that are starting to come over and actually join the league and be part of the growth, which was a very big one for me to join the league.
I have a question for you because I asked the coach today, I said, give me a player in any sport that maybe Carl Meyer reminds you of. And he gave me one that hit the nail on the head. New Orleans will love this because a guy named Taysom Hill. I don't know if you know much about the Saints yet, but Taysom Hill is a guy that was a quarterback in college. And to make this team, he kind of had to play special teams because they already had, obviously, they had Drew Brees and they had backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater came in.
Yep.
But the fact is, he made the team doing something he never did. He was a jack of all trades. He's about your size, big, strong, and super fast. He runs like a 4.3, which is very rare. But the fact is, they call him the Swiss Army knife because he catches passes, he throws some passes occasionally, he runs the ball a lot, and he plays special teams. At least he was, and he knocks the crap out of people. So have you ever heard of him, first of all?
I have. I've been following football back at home, actually, before I came over.
Did you?
And then now, obviously, coming into New Orleans, it's probably the biggest biggest thing here in New Orleans. So, like, you kind of see the people sort of just gravitate towards football and telling you everything about it. So I started watching a lot more and getting clued up on sort of the rules and the players and stuff. And
well, that makes me ask you a question. Well, you said you watched at home because I know Tristan last year didn't know anything about football. He actually got a tryout with the Saints and did very well. Did you know anything? Like the Australians told me last year, we followed the Saints and Drew Brees, mate. That's why we wanted to come to New Orleans. But you, as a person, what did you actually know about NFL and what players that you may have known and heard about?
So for me, I think Tom Brady was always the big one.
He's the guy.
Everyone says he's the GOAT. And sort of I've followed a lot of these guys. Sort of I'm very interested in what makes them these great players and why people always interview in and see why they achieve that type of success. So I was always doing my homework on sort of their background story. So I started following those players, which led me into looking into football and watching a bit of it back at home.
Had you ever heard of Drew Brees?
I did. You
know, he lives about 3 blocks from where you're sitting right now. I mean, literally, right here.
Really?
Right down the street. But anyway, yeah, Drew Brees is another guy that lives his life, and he is so focused, and that's laser focused, and every minute of his day is accounted for. And it's these kind of guys that you see have that kind of success and have success for a long, long time, like 2 decades in both those guys' cases.
Definitely. It's like that in any sort of professional sport. What you do, everyone does sort of the same program, so you're all at the same level. What are you doing to get that 1% better, 2% better to be that top player or be the best in your position?
You obviously have a good head on your shoulders, and there's a lot I want to ask you, but I'm going to go ahead and take a break now because I want this next segment. I'm going to get into a little bit more about what makes that player great. And also, we're in this business right now because this is kind of new to New Orleans still, even though we're going on a 3rd year. We're still getting fans. We have a 10,000-seat stadium now. The Shrine on Airline, It's a big, big deal. They're going to try to fill that entire stadium, and right now they're selling tickets like crazy. And obviously, you can go to NOLAGoldRugby.com and do that real quick, or you can even call 504-50-RUGBY. But the fact is I want to educate. I'm going to ask you some questions if I was a novice, which I kind of still am. But I want you to tell people what kind of positions do what. We're going to come right back. We've got one of the best in the business, New Orleans. You like stars, you like Zion Williamson, you like Drew Brees. We have Carl Meyer right here. We're going to talk a little more with my man from the NOLA Gold. We'll be right back in a second.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese.
Of course. It's okay. I'll take it from here.
Hey, the guy get a seat.
For the love of palmetto cheese.
Did you know that GMFS Mortgage is the largest independent mortgage company in Louisiana? Their 250 employees have helped over 79,000 customers make the dream of home ownership come true. They funded over $12.9 billion in loans right here in Southeast Louisiana. If you're ready to buy, build, or renovate a new home, or just need to refinance, call the company born and raised here, GMFS Mortgage.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll at the mid-city lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Make no mistake about it. Life's more fun with seafood.
Oysters don't swim.
They do in butter.
What'd you get? A little bit of everything to make everyone happy.
Acme Oyster House. Life really is more fun with seafood.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 1-800-653-9968.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. Sometimes, well, you know, when I had an hour show, I always had 3 guests. Now that it's a half hour, I got to pare it down. Usually 2, but sometimes 1 when I want to get to know somebody a little more. And that is definitely the case with my man right here, Carl Meyer, the import from South Africa. He is going to be a major player, a guy that can play a bunch of positions. And in fact, I was talking to the GM and the coach today. They say he can play from anywhere from 6 to 15. That's 10 different positions, and that's rare in this game because he's got the size, the strength, and he has the speed to go along with the obvious attributes. But the fact is, I had to say something because you mentioned off camera that Taysom Hill was a guy that, you know, you guys all went to the Saints practice last week. It was not a practice at the practice facility, but they had this Laureus, organization foundation event, which is a charity nonprofit thing, and they brought in all kind of sports. I think it was like 40 sports.
Yep.
And the Saints, some of the Saints players were there, but a lot of the kids were running around asking you that you reminded them of somebody.
Yeah, I got a couple questions from the kids asking me if I was Taysom Hill. So I had to tell them no, I wasn't. I had to try and educate them a little bit on rugby and hopefully get them down to see what it's like, because it's just literally across the road from the Saints facility. So hopefully the kids can come in and enjoy.
That's very
some of the
cool
rugby.
because, listen, I didn't even tell them about the Taysom Hill thing. That just came up off the break. But also, speaking of that, I mean, you are in the perfect place. Besides being in New Orleans, I'm going to tell you, I've lived all around the country. I've lived out of the country as well. To me, it's still the greatest city in the world. I love this city. I wanted to come back for a reason. You're going to enjoy it. But the Saints facility, the Pelicans facility are literally right next to your stadium. I mean, how cool is that for you guys?
That's amazing. To have all three professional sports right next to each other, I think is awesome, and especially for us now, people starting to learn the sport and everything being so close by, it just brings a good little buzz to New Orleans.
Okay, so when you were at the same event we were talking about when the kids were running up saying Taysom Hill, Cam Jordan, I mean, one of the best defensive ends in the entire NFL, certainly the best I think the Saints probably ever had at that position. There might be a couple they can argue with, but he's a great, great player. He's just signed a huge contract to stay here, Pro Bowl player. He's been that for 4 or 5 straight years. Tell us what happened at the facility thing, because from my end, I was told that he saw y'all and he ran over and said, hey, I want to meet these rugby guys because I saw a bunch of pictures with you and Cam Jordan. We're going to show a couple of them now, but talk about that experience. And did you know who he was beforehand? Be honest.
I remember watching the Thanksgiving game, and I recognized him when I saw him on the Friday, and he came over and said hello to us, and we kind of all introduced ourselves and got to know him, and what a great guy, really humble, nice guy. We started talking about bow fishing and stuff like that, and hopefully a couple of us will get out there and go bow fishing together.
You made a good impression. I've talked to some Saints people. They said he loved the rugby guys. He wants to come to games. Apparently he might be even getting season tickets, maybe even a suite. If you're watching, can't get the suite. But the fact is it's cool to see the interactive of the pro guys getting together. Did you know anything about the Pelicans beforehand? I'm curious because I know basketball. You said you played some growing up. What did you know about this team?
I didn't know too much. I followed some of the players. There was a couple of trades from, I think it was the Lakers. With
Anthony Davis.
Lonzo Ball, Anthony Davis going across, Ingram coming across. So
yes.
I'm quite interested in the NBA as well, and I actually went to my first Pelicans game.
Which one?
The OKC game.
Okay.
Which
Chris
was
Paul.
Yes, which was a great experience for me. First time going to.
That's pretty
the
cool.
Smoothie King
Did you know that Chris Paul was a great player here? Did they tell you that for 7?
I didn't know that.
He played for his first 7 years here, and actually I had a show in Atlanta that he was on when he was in high school back in the day when he was a McDonald's All-American. Great kid, great player. But moving forward, as far as rugby goes, tell people about the positions in rugby. I mean, listen, when I say 6, I didn't know what that meant. It's different than regular sports because we're used to anybody can wear any number, but the numbers coincide with the position, which now the more I've been around it, it's actually pretty cool because each position, if you say I'm a scrum half, that means you're number 9. Let's just start there. What's a scrum half? What does that mean?
So scrum half is pretty much the link between the forwards and the backs. So he's always going to be the first hands on the ball, sort of passing the ball to either the forwards or the backs. And the 10 sort of being the general behind directing the plays, directing the forwards, talking to the scrum half, letting him know if he wants to play the forwards or play him to go to get the ball out wide.
So generally forwards, I mean, I'm just telling, I know the rugby people are going to know this, but generally the bigger guys are 1 through, say, 8, right?
1 through 8.
And 9 through 15, it's basically like your offensive linemen, tight ends, and people like that, or defensive linemen are going to be 1 through 8s. And then football terms, the other guys are like your wide receivers, running backs, and returners, right?
Yeah, true. And the forwards do a lot of the hard work, so they love to say that we're the show ponies, so they do all the hard work and then we score the tries and make them look good. So
you don't mind being a show pony though, right?
Not at all.
Exactly.
I'd rather be in the back than have my head banged down in a scrum.
Right. All these guys just explain that, by the way, scrum. That's the one term that I think everybody hears, right? I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You've heard scrum. You associate that with rugby. But that word, I've said this many times, comes from football. Line of scrimmage came from the word scrum in rugby, but tell people real quick what a scrum is, because I mean, I think people that haven't heard this would want to know, because you just see a bunch of guys in there going around, but you don't really know exactly why they're doing it.
So it would happen normally if one of the teams knocked the ball on, or if there was a free kick, or
like a kind of penalty situation,
sort of play. Then they would either call the scrum, which both forward packs of 8 would lock down and scrum to compete for the ball that's being put in by.
Is it like a tug of war? I mean, they're showing strength on strength.
There's a lot of technical aspects. I think a lot of people just think of scrum and it's just like, it's just brute force trying to push each other over. But there's a lot of technical sort of works at the props and stuff do to try and manipulate their opposing player to get the upper hand on them.
So you've been in scrums, correct? I know you're a back now, but you've been a big guy. You played in some of those positions, right?
I've helped out once or twice on the flank. I've never.
True show pony we got right here.
I've never been in the scrum. Only when we've had like a yellow card in the thing, they normally send a centre into the flank.
Before I get out of this, I want you to give a quick impression of your owner, Tim Falcon, who you mentioned, also your general manager, Ryan Fitzgerald, and the head coach from Australia, Nate Osborne. Just quick impressions now that you've been here for a couple months.
To me, it's been outstanding. Like, I felt really at home. They're a great bunch of people. Everyone sort of gets along, which is a great thing to have.
Yes.
We all come from different parts of the country. Some guys are from here, a lot of guys aren't.
Right.
But everyone's sort of just quite clicking at the moment. Great bunch of guys. Everyone gets along, and we enjoy spending time together, which I think is the main.
And now you're about to get in the thick of it. I mean, are you staying in Louisiana for Christmas, or are you going back home?
I'm staying in Louisiana.
Well, we got to figure out something for you to do. We'll take care of you. By the way, it is cool. There's 10 countries represented. I mean, we know that Australia, New Zealand, obviously South Africa. You got three in South America. Yeah. You've got them all over. It's very cool, isn't it?
Oh, it's outstanding. Just the growth that I think the league has had from year 1 now to year 3, with 12 teams in the league. So I think it's going to be a really, really great season.
Well, we have a tradition where we sign the ball. I'm going to get the Tsunami to give me a pen, but first, while I do that, because you see signatures, I have like 10 of these.
Yeah.
These are a bunch of Saints, LSU, Pelicans. We have basketballs, but we have a thing here. We give away these shirts. They're called Task Performance, and I'm going to tell you this. You probably never heard of it. But guys like Sean Payton, guys like Drew Brees, Mickey Loomis, the general manager of the Saints, they wear this all the time. But, your general manager loves it, so does your coach. And once you put it on, you're going to be coming asking me for more. I don't know if I can do it, but Task Performance,
brilliant.
That's our gift to you.
Thank you so much.
And we also give 2 tickets to the rugby match. Come on, throw it in here, Tsunami. There you go. Good throw.
Good catch.
Hey, there you go. That's what I do. We're going to sign the ball right here. Carl Meyer, everybody.
Brilliant.
Get to know his name. We're going to get that under. Let's get there. Yeah, get right there under. Tristan Blewett. You and Blewett right there together. But
no problem.
Got to thank you so much, Carl. I look forward to watching you play. You're a gentleman. Obviously, you're a great athlete as well. And the thing about rugby, everybody, and I'm not going to talk rugby every week on the show because, I am heavy Saints. I am heavy LSU. I do love Tulane, UNO, the Pelicans, all of that. But this is a sport you're going to fall in love with. I knew nothing about it 13 months ago. I absolutely love it now. You can get your tickets now. Go get the season tickets. They're easy. They're cheap. And you got great seats. And you have all kind of VIP. If you want all you can eat, all you can drink, get that too. Go call them up. The number is easy. 50-RUGBY. 50-RUGBY. 504, of course, you're not in that area code. You dial that. But also, go on your computer. Real simple. All you got to do is go to NOLAGoldRugby.com. It'll take you where you want and grab some tickets. Go support this team. They're a professional team. This is major leagues. This isn't the minor league team that was there before. We're talking major league athletes from around the world, Olympians, World Cup players, and some of the best. Once you get there, you'll be hooked too. Carl Meyer.
Perfect.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And I cannot wait, like I said. Hey, we're going to see you next week. We're going to get back to football. Get on and root those Saints on Monday night. If you're watching this on the Tuesday show, it was last night, so you know the score and I don't. But also the LSU Tigers, it's coming around in 2 weeks. They're going to be in that big national semifinal in Atlanta, and hopefully 2 weeks later, they'll be playing the national championship right here. Thanks to everyone, the Redhead Tsunami, my producer, Albert, and everybody at Loyola University, at WWL-TV, and, of course, CST. We'll see you again next week.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Let me tell you.